Who's a fan of Mancera's fragrances? Let me know. Put a comment down so I can find out. And also, let me know what your favorite Mancera fragrances are. In this video, I'm talking about 3 fragrances that are perfect to wear this summer. Mancera fragrances. Mancera fragrances tend to be very, very long-lasting, intense experiences. And I'm going to highlight 3 of them, fairly new fragrances. And I've got a bonus fragrance as well. That might be more all year round. In fact, could be a winter fragrance as well. But it has some fresh notes. And I'm going to talk to you about that as well. So find out about 3 amazing Mancera fragrances to wear this summer. Thanks so much for tuning in. This is Sebastian. Yes, today we're talking about Mancera's fragrances, and I've got 3 fragrances featuring, where is it? Fig Ecstasy, Fig Lover here, Soleil Diatali, got the latest Intense CEDRAT Boise, and then Lovely Garden. Are you a fan of these fragrances? Let me know. I've received so many messages from folks saying I need to try Fig Ecstasy. So I've tried it, and I'm going to tell you honestly what I think about it. I think it's great. It's very, very intense. There's a lot of fig fragrances coming out lately, and this one definitely doesn't smell like any of the other ones I've smelled recently. There's definitely a nuttiness here, and also a creaminess that I'm really digging in the Mancera, plus the fact that it's really, really intense. Soleil d'Italie, on the other hand, is from 2019, whereas Fig Ecstasy is from last year, 2021. Is also really, really great. It's a great citrus fragrance with some substance, and there's definitely something really reminding me a little bit of a classic fragrance as well. And of course, Intense CEDRAT Boise, I've got a full review of it. If you haven't caught that, go catch it. But I think this is going to be a great, intense fragrance wearing experience for the summer, if you're looking for that more intense summer fragrance experience. Before I get to the fragrances though, if this is your first time tuning into the channel and you haven't subscribed, please do click the subscribe button below, and also click the bell so that you'll be notified for future videos and giveaways. Yeah, let me know if you're a fan of Mancera's fragrances. I'd like to find out. All 3 of these fragrances are unisex. The one after the outro I'm going to talk to you about is a feminine or women's targeted release. And I left that off till the end. But let's talk about Fig Ecstasy first. Fig Ecstasy is a 2021 launch. This is it right here. The thing about Mancera fragrances, I should say before I move on with the fragrances, the Montal fragrances are 100 ml. These are 120 ml. They're kind of sister companies. They're related. But this is a 2021 launch. It's featuring notes of fig milk, fig leaf, leather, sandalwood, incense, ginger, black pepper, vanilla, Benzoin, Tonka, and Styrax. So you definitely really experience the milkiness, because I was mentioning that this is definitely creamy and has major creamy qualities here. But the leaf is there. You definitely experience the greenness of the leaf. So basically this is a great figgy experience, but we're not noticing any fruitiness here. The last time I spoke about a fig fragrance definitely featured the fruit, but in this case it's more of the milk and the leaf. If you've ever gone to a fig tree and cut the leaf off of it, you're gonna have this milky sap, a sticky break off where the part of the leaf is broken off. So that's featured here, and it definitely has a figgy smell, very, very green and earthy, kind of bitter. But this one also features some amberiness. There's definitely some amberiness in the experience. There's Styrax here, there's Benzoin, so it's kind of a complex fig fragrance, but I think the sandalwood in this particular fragrance also kind of blends nicely with the fig milk note to give you a very, very smooth and creamy kind of an experience. Along the way, you're going to experience spices. There's definitely a peppery spice here. There's also a zingy spice with this one, a ginger note. So you've got some zing and spice, a little bite to the fragrance. But for me, this one's mostly about the fig, of course. It's called Fig Ecstasy. And as I was saying, there's definitely a nuttiness. I'm kind of getting like a walnut kind of a nut experience. I don't know if you've ever been near a walnut tree or, you know, broke into the actual nuts, the dried nuts. There's definitely a smell there, and I have a kind of a nutty experience here, and I think it's just basically all the notes combined together to create this kind of a walnutty experience. I've played around fig trees and walnut trees, so I like the smell of these trees, both the walnut and the fig. This one also is the walnut nuttiness, but I'm getting a little bit of the leafiness. There's definitely a difference in the smells of these trees, and for some reason with this one, with the notes that they've put in, there's definitely this kind of a walnutty nuttiness here, which is quite nice. It's different than other fragrances because it's got a lot of substance, and it's also very, very long lasting. The only thing that I thought was missing in this was the fruitiness of the fig, but I think that might have not worked here, so we're basically just focusing on the greenness and then of course the milkiness of the fig with the fig milk. It's a really, really great fragrance. Really love to wear this one, and I think with Mancera fragrances, since they are really, really intense fragrance experiences, you're probably going to really, really like this one. But it is also on the complex side, so you'll have all kinds of stuff happening, and the fact that it's got the leatheriness and some sweetness and warmth from the ambery touches, and then of course the greenness from the leaf. It's a you know, a lot of different directions it's pulling for. So, but for me, like I said, it's mostly about the fig milk, fig leaf, and then everything else comes after it. So Fig Ecstasy, what a great fragrance. You guys were right. You were mentioning I should check it out. It definitely deserves to be checked out. It came out last year. I didn't realize it came out when it came out, but you guys messaged me and said, you know, check that out. And here it is. I am, you know, reviewing it for you guys. Do let me know if you've sampled this one, and let me know if you're a fan of it or if you don't like it. So this next one is Soleil d'Italie from 2019. So we've got a fragrance from 2019 and two or three from 2021. Soleil d'Italie is definitely very, very citrusy and a little sharp and tart as well. It features notes of citruses, aquatic or watery notes, white musk, cardamom, pink pepper, ambergris, patchouli, rose, vetiver, and cedar. Definitely something in this one is also a bit classic. Definitely kind of taking on fragrances like Eau Sauvage or YSL's Pour Monsieur, or even something like Chanel Pour Homme, I think, isn't that what it's called? Some of those fragrances, and adding some tartness to the fragrance, and then making it a green as well. There's like a greenness in here, and then also tart zing from a different you know, citruses that have this kind of like a zingy, tart, sour kind of characteristic. Because on the Mancera website they do mention it's citruses, so I'm not 100% sure what kind of citruses went into this. Most likely lemons, which lemons for me from the citrus family definitely has lots of tartness, and I could also envision like lime in here. There's definitely some kind of a liminess as well. Definitely has a very, very tart quality to it. But of course you're experiencing the watery notes. It's not marine. This is not a marine fragrance. Definitely no marine stuff comes in here. It's definitely just water. So basically they're kind of adding all these tart, juicy citruses and kind of like diluting it down with a watery note. That's kind of what I'm experiencing here. There's definitely patchouli, which is really, really prominent. And it's this patchouli that kind of takes me into reminding me of something like YSL's Pour Homme, is it Chanel's Pour Monsieur? I think that's what it's called. And then Eau Sauvage, kind of classic men's citrus fragrances. And then of course there's definitely vetiver here, some woods in the dry down, and a little bit of a rosy touch. This one also, one thing, even though I've mentioned the male fragrances, I think it also kind of is definitely on the unisex side. There's definitely kind of like a balancing act of masculine and feminine. There's something in here that kind of reminds me of a classic sheep styling as well. So it kind of has characteristics of both male and female fresh fragrances. But once again, just like other Mancera fragrances, this is a very, very intense citrus fragrance. It's very, very long lasting. And I think the fact that it's tart and sour kind of an experience, I think those are the best fragrances to wear when it's really, really hot outside. At least to me, subconsciously, I always think that the tart and sour fragrances will cut through the heat. But a great scent. Soleil d'Italie is the second fragrance I'm going to recommend to you today from the house of Mancera for a great fragrance this summer. And then finally, as I had already reviewed this one, it's Mancera's Intense Cedrat Boisé. Everybody's familiar with the original Cedrat Boisé, and as I had mentioned in my video review for this one, there's not much different in the price. So if you're looking at Cedrat Boisé, I'd say jump right to the Intense Cedrat Boisé and get that, because this is a lot more intense than the original. It's a little more complex as well, and it does kind of do a better job with performance. So the notes here are citruses, blackcurrant, spices, leather, oud, white musk, oakmoss, ambergris, jasmine, and sandalwood. So it's lots of citruses here, and I think this particular one, in comparison to Soleil d'Italie, is not as tart tart. There's definitely sweetness here, and it's not necessarily tart citruses. You've got some orangey touches and sweet lemony touches as well. It's definitely a lot more cozy, whereas tart and sour citruses are a little more invigorating to me. The sweet ones are a little more relaxed and a little cozier. There's definitely fruity touch, and of course it does have that reminder of Aventus. It's not Aventus for sure. There's no pineappliness here. Definitely fruitiness from the blackcurrant note, and then of course lots of citruses. There's spices. There's definitely a spicy touch, and of course just like the last one, there's definitely a leathery experience, but I get more of a leathery experience here with this one than the previous version. They mentioned there's oud here. It doesn't get too oudy. Maybe perhaps in the dry down it does get a little woody, but it's not necessarily that much oudy. And I think the only other notes I experience here are jasmine. There's definitely kind of a floral experience in contrast to the citruses and the fruits and the spices, and then of course sandalwood. Sandalwood in here, it's a very creamy experience. I like that about this one. It's the opposite of Soleil Italy, whereas that one is just completely invigorating and uplifting, kind of like let you go, go, go kind of an experience, whereas this one, it's a little more calming and soothing and a relaxing experience. It's really great. I like this one. CEDRAT Boise, or Intense CEDRAT Boise from Mancera from 2021. And those are the 3 fragrances I'm recommending as unisex fragrances for summer. Let me know what your thoughts are on these 3 fragrances from the House of Mancera. Are you a fan, or do you not enjoy this house? Let me know. Put a comment down so I can find out. And if you have any other Mancera fragrances that you recommend for summer, please do tell. This house has a lot of fragrances, and I'd like to dig in a little further as well. Other than that, guys, thanks so much for watching today. If you have any questions or comments, please do list below. Please like this video. Please share it. Follow me on Instagram and Facebook, and I'll be back with more videos very soon. Have a good one. Goodbye. Okay, last but not least, this is a feminine targeted release. It's Lovely Garden. Man, this is such an intense fragrance experience, and so long lasting and so overwhelming. If you like overwhelming fragrances, this is one for you. But this is a feminine fragrance, and that's also very sweet, uber sweet and floral. Features notes of Turkish rose, orange blossom, tuberose, Indonesian patchouli, toffee, powdery musk, incense, and ambergris. These notes were taken directly off of the Mancera website, and so I wanted to find out exactly what they feature here. So orange blossom as a note is already kind of sweet to me. Tuberose is also on the sweet side. Rose can be sweet as well. So you've got these 3 different notes, but to cut through those notes, you've got this patchouli. Yes, it's prominent. You experience it. It's definitely there. But why they added toffee? Toffee is kind of taking the fragrance into very like tooth-rottingly sweet a direction. Very sweet. It makes a major sweetness to the fragrance, or adds a sweetness that it can become overwhelming. This particular fragrance might be a little too much for summer. Some of you can wear it, because I felt like, you know, it's got these floral touches and things like that. It would be perfect to wear in the summertime, but it can get a little cloying with that toffee note. And then they mentioned the powdery musk. Yes, it's definitely musky, and I don't get much of the incense in this one. Maybe there's a slight bit of it to kind of give you a contrast and to cut through the sweetness, because it's uber sweet. Extremely sweet. And then of course there is a little bit of an ambergris kind of experience, which creates for an ambery dry down. It is overwhelming. This is probably one of the most overwhelming fragrances I've experienced from Mancera, because it's uber sweet and really intense and thick, really long lasting. So this one, use with caution, I should say, just because it's uber sweet, overwhelmingly intense, and very floral. One more thing I should say about this one, it lasts to the next day, and it just lasts and lingers. So if you like overwhelmingly sweet fragrances, this one's for you. You gotta check this one out. Anyway guys, thanks so much for tuning in. Have a good one. Bye bye.